Life doesn't always move in straight lines. We make decisions we believe are right, safe, even smart. But sometimes something deeper begins to stir. A quiet voice, a flicker of discomfort, a longing we can't quite name. And if we don't listen, that voice gets louder through our bodies, through illness, through pain we can't ignore. Eventually, we're called to make a change. That's what happened to Maurine Xavier. Hello, I'm Hillary Sloan, and this is Driftwood Conversations. Today I want to introduce you to Maurine, a woman who walked away from the expected into the unknown. She'll share what it means to listen, to pivot, and to trust that the life calling you is the one worth living. Hi, Maurine.
Hi, Hillary.
Thanks for coming today. Thanks for being available. And I'm really excited about this conversation. So maybe you can start by introducing yourself to the audience, to Driftwood Conversations.
Sure, absolutely. My name is Maurine Xavier. I live in the central coast of California, San Luis Obispo, and I'm 63 years old at the time of this recording. I have 2 adult children and 2 grandchildren. And my current title for what I do is a peace, love, and joy mentor. What I'm passionate about doing is helping women who struggle with overwhelm. They think too much. They have these repetitive thought patterns they can't seem to get past. And they really want to have more peace, love, and joy in their lives. They're on a spiritual path and they're really committed to their life's purpose. And what I do is I help them speed the process along. I was in accounting for over 3 decades. I was a CPA and a division controller at a wholesale women's apparel company. I also did mortgages. After I had children, my primary job was being the mother to my children. And when they were out of the house, I went back to accounting. And the longer I was in accounting, the more hopeless I felt. And I'd actually gotten to the point where I was just so desperate to get out of my body, I became suicidal. And the teacher I had been working with, I've been a transformational student for 14 years. He had told me when I started working with him, this is a one-way path. This transformational path is one you never get off. So I was at that point in my life where I knew I was infinitely responsible for everything in my life. I just hadn't been willing to completely own my soul's journey and step into it wholeheartedly. I was still letting fear and the need for money drive my life.
So the pain was a warning signal to you. How did you know that you had to make a complete change?
The pain was, yes, and the pain was untenable. So I think I've been in pain my whole life. I'm further along in the journey. I still have a whole lot of discomfort. Well, I would say the difference between physical pain and emotional pain and spiritual pain is this was a stinging. Imagine what your hands would feel like if you are holding on tight to that rope. You're trying to slide down it at the same time. The way I imagine that is that your hands are going to be burning. So this kind of pain I'm talking about is a burning. And I know the difference between a physical pain and a spiritual pain or a cosmic pain. Like when I fall on my bike, that energy is resonating from my body. This kind of pain did not originate in my body and does not originate in your body.
Now, you said you worked with somebody for 14 years. What made you go to somebody for this pain?
No, but depression. So the personal development journey I am on started 30 years ago. My strategies for life that got me to where I was is I was a perfectionist, I was a workaholic, I was a people pleaser. I would go to work at 4:30 a.m. when my son was still alive, and I would stay there until 7 o'clock at night. So I was always taking care of everyone else all the time, not getting my work done. So when I was staying at home with my 2 children, 6 months old and 3, I was on the verge of a nervous breakdown because my daughter wasn't sleeping through the night. My 3-year-old wanted what 3-year-olds do. because my strategies for living did not work. Being a perfectionist, there's no amount of people pleasing I could do to make my children happy. And that's all I was trying to do. I just wanted them to be happy the way I always wanted to be happy. I grew up in an alcoholic home. At the time, I didn't know how much it impacted me. I had started my therapy portion of the journey in 1996. And I had also been doing 12 steps. So I did every kind of therapy you can imagine. Well, I was also on an antidepressant. And I had started taking products I put in my body that I felt better. I had more energy. I was calm. So I knew I could feel better, more calm in my body. I also wanted more. I still wasn't peaceful. I still dealt with depression. I still dealt with anxiety. I still dealt with worrying the other shoe was going to drop. Both my parents passed away was when, if you will, the next phase of my journey started. Like, I no longer needed to take care of them on the planet. So it opened up the door to a new kind of self-care. And I had started a 12-step journey. I joined Adult Children of Alcoholics, and I started doing the steps. And the third step is to give your power over to a force greater than yours. I was really praying for peace. And I was earnestly like, okay, this is my next wave. And I met him at a networking event I was doing for one of the companies I was working with. I answered a questionnaire that, like, do you want more peace? Do you want more feeling good? And he reached out to me once. He says, would you like to meet? And I had gotten to the point where I had invested so much time and so much money in all these different programs. I was in network marketing for a while. So I had this coach and I had that coach and another coach. I wanted to be better at following through, and I wanted to build a team, and I wanted to have more self-confidence. And none of them were working the way I hoped they had worked. So it's like, nope, not doing it. I am not doing. I'm done with investing in all this stuff that doesn't work. I said no. And then he called me back about a month later, and I said no again. Because for me at that point, my saying no was self-care. My saying no was owning my power. My saying no was, I'm not going to give away money to this next quick fix idea. And then when he called me back the third time, it was the week before my mother passed away. I can still picture it. I was sitting in my office. I had a white corner desk. I picked up the phone. He said, Spirit guided me to reach out to you again. And I was ready to say no. Like, nope, not interested. And I had this aha moment. I looked up to the ceiling and I said, okay, God, this is the answer. This is what I've been praying for. So this man is an answer I have been praying for. And my mother passed away the following week. And when I walked into his office, being in his presence was the first time I had ever felt real love. Like, I felt what I imagined love felt like. I felt like there was a safe space for me to be. And I also knew that I was meant to be there. So in 2011, I started, as he said, 3 weeks in, this is a journey you're never going to recover from. And he taught me transformation, taught me unity, still teaches me unity, taught me about my body. He's a holistic healer. He knows about the body. I had already done all I could do to help heal the mind. Now it was time for me to become a whole being. In 2011 was when it started. I went back to accounting in 2014. See, part of what I learned growing up, what I thought I could do is I thought I could make my mother happy. And then if my mother was happy, my family was going to be happy. My father was an alcoholic, and he was physically, and he was violent, and they would fight. And I was really scared. I was really afraid. So what I learned to do as a child was, well, first of all, I thought I could take their energy and make it all better. And now that I know, I'm very spiritually advanced, so I probably was helping diffuse the energy in the house as a little kid.
Did you know as a child that you were an empath?
No, I had no idea.
Did you have any spiritual training from your family?
No.
Religion?
Oh, well, I don't call religion spiritual. So, yeah, I grew up as a Catholic, but it was all dogma as far as I was concerned. Like I don't feel like I learned spirituality until I started the 12-step program. I kept going to church, to Catholic church for a long time. I consider it made me being a good girl and continuing to do something I thought I should do. When I do go back to Catholic church from time to time, I like it. I appreciate the community.
I've noticed over the years that when people are aspirational, sometimes they will seek out religion as a way.
Yeah. I don't know if I've evolved so I hear differently what was already being said. Pope Francis really called to me. And the new pope, I forgot his name.
Leo.
So I hear them, oh Leo, that's right. I hear them talking about the God in you in a way I don't remember hearing it in Catholic grade school.
I don't think it was part of it back then, and from what I've heard from people, and almost all my Catholic friends talk about being a recovering Catholic.
That's what I would call myself too.
Did you feel like you had to resolve your relationship with your parents? And did you get to do that before they died?
No, I definitely didn't do that before they died, and I still don't know if I'm actually complete. That's that way better than I used to be. So that's one of the things. Dr. David Kamnitzer is my spiritual teacher's name. He has an office in San Jose, California. And he would talk about completing your relationship with your parents. And what I'm calling it now is evolving my relationship with my parents. Because the whole completing it, the words don't resonate with me. I say evolving it so that the relationship can be based on love. The relationship was based on fear. The relationship was based on egoic mind. The relationship was based upon mess.
I don't know anybody that doesn't have some issues with their family, even if they're very devoted to them. When you counsel and work with people now, do you work with spiritual guides?
I was invited to learn how to channel. My soul, I had extraordinary joy when I walked into this community of women. So channeling means you open up your consciousness, and there are beings that live in the ethereal world that talk to me and talk through me. We are all channels. Nobody I talk to is any different from me. I've just committed a lot of time to this practice. We are all channels. We are all conduits for spirit to move through us. Some of us are meant to talk to a whole bunch of beings that live in the divine world, and some of us aren't. So I followed my joy. I had extraordinary joy when I was asked to, invited to learn to channel. So I showed up on a retreat and I was introduced to, okay, open my consciousness. Mother Mary came to me as my first guide. And I know the difference because I am, as you said, I am an empath. I feel. I am clairsentient. I feel very deeply. And so I feel different vibrations. When the vibration in the space starts to shift, I know that there's another being in another dimension of consciousness that wants to speak to and through me. And so that is a modality that I use for supporting people who want to heal, because they have access to stuff I have no conscious knowing about. I open up my consciousness, I consciously bring them in. I know my channeling is only as good as my intention to serve and my willingness to get out of the way, because my egoic mind wants to do exactly what it wants to do. It wants to keep me safe, protected, following what it has to say. And so being a channel, I've been on this journey long enough to know that I pay attention to the vibration. When the energy comes in and hits my consciousness, sometimes what it hits is the egoic mind. And then I consciously say, okay, this is not the message that's meant to get through. Reconnect. The vibration of the beings and the light that I channel is healing. It's a higher vibration. Think about laser surgery. Think about laser healing. That's a light. So there's light has healing powers, and the energy now that I have access to in these higher realms, and the light body that I embody now in and of itself, being in the presence of my vibration or the vibration that I bring through, can heal people. It can shift their vibration. It can open them up to having access to memories. They have no idea. I had a client, my first appointment with a client yesterday. She's never done inner child work. She has issues with not being enough. I asked her a question and she opened up to a memory of her inner child, which she's the eldest of 6 children. She struggles with not feeling like she's not enough. And she accessed a memory where when she was little, she fell and she hurt herself. And she wanted attention from her mother. Her mother was holding one of her younger siblings. So she decided she'd actually decided, if I be better and I do better, I'll get more attention. So that's the kind of thing that happens in the space I am in. I can help people access memories that that's there, but they've never consciously connected to why they feel like they're not enough or why they work so hard.
Do you work in person or online? How do you work?
I do all my work online. I do it via Zoom. I'm starting to do in-person workshops again. However, all my client work has always been on Zoom.
Did that have anything to do with COVID?
No.
No.
I started my business in 2017 and it was always on Zoom. Because that way I don't need to be in a person's space to know what wants to happen. And that way I have access to supporting people all around the world.
And do you have clients all over the world?
Well, I've never had anyone in Europe, so it's been North America. I also partner with another woman, the Diamond Co-Creative System. Amanda Slade is her name. She has energy co-creation codes, and she has a group that she leads. And I lead a group within her group where one of our clients is from Singapore.
I met you through a friend, and I was going through a transition, and I came to you, and it was really very powerful. Thank you.
Do you want to share anything about what you experienced?
I'm not sure I can remember exactly. I know it released something that I had been struggling with, but I can't remember right now. Do you remember anything about it?
Well, what I remember is the energy of our being together was palpable. Then that's part of what my stand is for love. My stand in the world is to be the love that I am and to be the stand that we are all love. And so the energy I carry and the intention I carry is that, like, people, it's not unusual for people after a first meeting to say to me, I've never told anyone in the world what I just told you. Because I just naturally bring stuff up out of people because I want everyone to live the life we were created to live, right? So I remember immediately your energy and your being, your spiritual power, you've done decades and decades of inner work too. Just literally coming together, you felt stuff start shifting just in the space of our being together.
I definitely did.
You had percolations, like what I described with the woman with the woman with the not enough. That happened for you. Stuff started coming to your consciousness, and then you had access to doing something about hidden memories that you hadn't had access to on your own.
Right. We worked off and on for a while, and I got involved with say that again, Amanda Slade.
Slade, Slade.
It was all really positive. And it's been helping me not only clear, but reconnect to who I am and what I'm here for. So it's been a process, and as you said, over years, decades, but every step is so powerful. I believe that part of it is everything is escalating right now because it's very important for us, for humans, to start to reconnect with their soul and come back online. Remember. Remember who we are, remember what we're doing, remember the joy, remember the connection.
Very fast. For everyone. Things are going very fast for me too. I've just spent a whole lot of years preparing for where we are. Yeah, I can only imagine what it's like for people that don't have access. Well, yeah, I believe everybody's going through exactly what they're meant to go through, whatever their soul, whatever their body, whatever their journey is, what they're meant to learn. Choices. We all have free will. We all have free choice. People don't have to ascend. It really is a choice.
It's funny, that's gotten complicated for me. I've been looking at that privilege over free will. And one of the podcasts I just did with a gentleman from South Africa, Gordon Clark, and we were talking about some of these kids that get into the gangs and have been conscripted into the army, and there's not a lot of choice there. And maybe the choice is made on soul levels, and I just have to bless it, but also recognize the privileges I've been given and be very grateful for them. Every single one of them. Not take them for granted. So, yeah, that's been a big deal for me, especially in the last week or two. But I'm so glad you're out there, and yes, you helped me quite a bit. What are your guides telling you about this time? Have you gotten any overviews?
What is coming through me this week? It's interesting. I do an email series. I have an email list, and I intended to do one email that's ended up drilling out into now I'm going to be on my third email. So it's really like it's coming through me to talk about love. Because I've been a stand for love for a long time. However, I've been in a closet about it. It's like, who's going to listen to me talking about love? But it came through me loud and clear. You must take a stand for love in order for love to thrive on the planet. Would you like to hear exactly what the message was that came through?
Yes.
Okay, let me find it. No, I found it. I found it now. We are going through a crisis of wills on the planet, and in order for love to win, you must play your part. In order for love to win, you must take a stand for love. Love is an essence, and it requires human beings to stand with it for love to win.
You know, a lot of people have questions about that. What is love?
Yeah.
You can personally direct it and describe it. I love my
Yeah.
cat. I love the wild animals. I don't have a cat, but I love my partner. I love my friends. But what is the love you're talking about?
The essence that creates everything. Yeah, the energy and essence that is the foundation of all.
Even that's abstract. We're talking about a vibration, a feeling.
It's prior to and senior to feelings. Well, you know what I think would be best? Because I totally hear what you're saying. That's a part of why I haven't been out there talking about it. Well, first of all, lots of people reject the idea of love. They don't even want to talk about love, or they're going to go into a memory or that it's a feeling. I would rather have the powers that be to give the answer. Yes, it's a vibration. Yes, it's an energy. Yes, it's a feeling. It moves mountains. It's that which is indescribable, Hillary and audience, that it's the stillness, the energy that gets you to move out of bed in the morning, the energy that naturally tells your body when it's ready to go pee, the energy that literally opens, like your right eye can flutter and your lid can open and close. It's the energy that causes you to sneeze. And that's the best we can describe it, because the mind at some level will never understand love. It simply is. And when you're able to connect with something that is, true life, instead of being in the mind and what the mind creates, because the mind has distortions and love is all. So I'm witnessing a flow of energy. It was a different color, looking kind of like a reverse puff of smoke. from a campfire in the space. Okay.
Thank you, and thank you to the powers that be. Do you have a name for them? Do you have have they given you names?
Oh, I've got lots of names. That was from my higher self and the Galactic Guide Team. That's who's seeming to talk through me a lot lately. The Galactic Federation, there's a Galactic Guide Team that's new access for me.
There's a synchronicity that is undeniable lately. I keep hearing galactic, love, so many similar concepts coming from people that wouldn't have spoken about spirituality a couple of years ago at all. Friends in England, and the English were very much against it, and now there is so much erupting and coming to the surface, and brilliant channels and astrologers and people representing the higher consciousness. So I find that so reassuring.
Yeah, I appreciate you sharing that. Like I said, I've been a stand for love for a while. I wouldn't touch that with a 10-foot pole. Like actually talking about it and sending it out in my email series and doing a video on it. It's like, no, it's time. And it's just, I just know. First of all, I don't have the fear or hesitation I used to have about it, which I say is a sign of it wasn't time then, and now it's time. And just do it. Like, it's not, because this isn't about me, right? And that's been the part of the journey, is this really isn't about me. This is about serving a purpose bigger than mine. And so I've also been reading the book Let Them by Mel Robbins. So what comes into my mind, if I get worried about how people are going to respond, people are going to judge me, people are going to do whatever. It's like, let them judge me, let them discount what I have to say, let them have whatever opinions they're going to say, and let me do what I am guided to do. This is the time then, share and be unattached to the message.
For me, it's speaking truth. And truth can change depending on how I can open to it. But I can't deny my truth in the moment anymore. Not at all. When you're working with people, are you seeing people feeling overwhelmed by life conditions right now?
Yes, and. So this is the reality is most of my clientele I have been working with for a number of years. I have gone through my own journey of trusting the universe enough that I would be supported even when I wasn't building my business. So most of my clients have been with me for so long that we've been on this journey, and they just know this is like they're on their journey and they're going through what they're going through. I'm now opening to having a whole new flow of clients coming to me. And some of them, yes, they're experiencing it's intense. And an urgency. So I'd say I am noticing is there's an urgency for them to do the kind of work that I offer that wasn't there before. Yeah, so if they've been, it's like no more waiting. I'm here. I'm committed. Let's do this thing. I just feel the collective so deep. There's just so much going on all the time. It's like, yeah, of course people are going to be overwhelmed. Of course you're going to be dealing with how do you put one foot in front of the other without... I don't know. So I would say I'm not hearing it directly from people as much as I'm actually feeling it, because I'm pretty committed to living in a certain vibration. So I don't attract people that are whatever. I just don't, I don't live in the spaces where I get the social media dumps on my page that people talk about where people are flipping out. Those don't show up on my social media because that's not what I tune into and that's not what I attract.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, as a reporter, I look at a lot of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
But it's important to hold your space and know when to walk away and to know what you can take. What if you have a new person coming to you? And they're an empath, because that's also something I think is very important. Your ability to tune into those very fine levels where you can hear what most people won't. and I can do that also. What would you tell somebody?
What's on your mind right now? What's really important to you? I would just want to know what's your biggest issue right now? Let's get specific about where you are. I understand what it's like to not have any idea who I am. I understand what it's like to literally believe you are the feelings and the energy of everything in your space. I had no idea who I really was. So I get what it's like to live completely merged with the energy around you. And I also know that it's possible to start recognizing and living in who I am and who you are. So what I do is I just meet people. What's important to you today? What would you like to leave with today? Because whatever's up for them is where we start.
I want to go over that one more time. So you're talking about you had no idea who you are. I know what you mean by that, but if somebody's tuning in that doesn't, can you describe that in a little more detail? How did you discover who you are? Do you see it?
No, I started becoming aware. So I would walk into a restaurant. I was feeling other people around me. I think it was actually my daughter. I was sitting next to my daughter. My daughter had had a couple drinks. I was feeling her energy. And I didn't know that I was feeling her energy. Well, I take that back. At the time, I had started becoming aware of, oh, maybe this isn't me after all. But an example is, that example was I was sitting there and I was feeling drunk. I knew I hadn't had any alcohol. I got up and I walked away to go into the bathroom to see what was happening. But that was an example of I felt everything around me. So I was feeling someone else's feelings. I was sitting at a hotel with a group of women. There was a woman that was sitting next to me, and she was having irritation because she was having an issue with the airlines. The airlines weren't doing something. I was feeling irritation, and I thought I was feeling irritation. It's like, I'm irritated. I'm like, well, I'm here. But the energy of irritation was in the space with me, and I was feeling irritation in my body. And it was only in the course of the conversation that it came up that what I was feeling was actually her irritation. So I say, what may be happening to you is you're feeling all these different things and you think they're your feelings, but you start actually asking, is this even mine? Because you're so attuned to feeling everything that the energy in your space, you don't realize, is this my feeling or is this someone else's feeling? Does that make sense? Is that
Absolutely.
a good example?
Totally aware of what you're talking about. Not everybody feels that, luckily. I mean, it's to say when I was a kid, if you cut yourself, I would bleed. And even to this day, if Bob, my partner, starts to talk about a pain he has somewhere, I'll double over because it actually penetrates my physical body as a sensation. So, yes, I know. But let's go back to the idea of you didn't know who you were. Besides taking on other people's feelings and sensations, and that's quite a bit, and being rocketed all over the place by others' emotions. What do you understand now about who you are?
Well, I understand that peace is possible. I understand that I don't have to do anything in order to make myself feel better. Like the feeling better doesn't come from the doing realm. I understand that I'm always going to be okay no matter what. I understand that when I feel really intense feelings, when I still feel that stinging. So I still feel that stinging. And now I understand and have access to infinite energy, that I know it's temporary. Like, no matter how bad I feel, no matter how much discomfort I may be feeling in a moment, now I really do know it's temporary. I also know I have power. I didn't used to know I had power. So I actually know now I have choice and I have power. And no matter what is in my space, well, first of all, I can let it be. I don't have to push it away. I don't have to make it change. And I know that it's possible for me to be so spacious that that feeling doesn't have to matter. What I was taught, like the ground, like Dr. David's ground rules, if you were, is I am an infinite being having a human experience. And that's been a teaching for a really long time. I am an infinite being having a human experience. It provided the faith for me to continue to expand and continue to let go. And it's also a teaching. So like there's a distinction between living something as a teaching and knowing it like an is. Like, I know this. It's not just a concept anymore. I'm walking around like that is real.
That's a great feeling. Years ago when I was in New York, and I'm talking about the 70s, the 1970s, there were no metaphysical bookstores. Things were not known. There were a couple of people channeling, doing seances. And to find any books, Theosophy was around, and I found occult bookstores. And they were about magic, but you could find, different things in there. And I found a little book and opened it, and it said, "Be silent and know that I am." And that hit me so strongly, and I walked around for days repeating it. And I'll never forget, I was on Madison Avenue and 42nd Street. And all of a sudden, the words popped. They like became more than words. They exploded, like my mind exploded. And all of a sudden, this light hit me, and I looked around and I realized what I felt was, if I'm God within, so is God within everybody walking by me. And it was almost human. Well, it was humorous. I wanted to kiss and hug everybody. In New York City, I restrained myself.
Wow.
So I know what you're talking about when you embody those ideas. They begin as ideas. They begin as maybe words, maybe mantras, maybe a download that comes from something bigger. And then we embody it. And that's glorious. Am I right? Is that how you feel it?
Yeah, it's so exciting for me with all of the teachings. Like, I spent thousands of hours with Dr. David over 5 years. And when those teachings he's given me, now I get like some of them, and like we're talking about how rapidly things are moving recently, is like, oh, that teaching, now I get it. Like, I'm actually seeing it, I'm actually living it. So there's a lot of ahas, like, oh, okay. And the teaching helped build the bridge. Like, the teaching gave my mind something to focus on and something to believe in so that I could move beyond the mind.
Do you have any other messages for us?
Well, first of all, light is just being poured in the space right now. So the message is the energy that's being shared and transmitted here. Open your heart and let the energy in that's being shared. Yeah, and what I get is the biggest message here is to open your heart. Or if you have or discover what if I say open your heart and opening your heart feels like fearful or scary or you have resistance, step inside of the question, what if it is possible to open my heart and know that it is safe now? What if it is possible to open my heart and know that it is safe now? Step into that with real curiosity and like a real possibility and see where it leads you.
Do you have any sense of what the future's going to bring?
Well, my sense is the universe is going in one direction, and we as human beings, the only choice we really have is we can get on board with where the universe is going, or we can continue to resist. So I think what it is the feeling I have every day is the energy's moving, ascension's happening, the vibrations of the planet have already shifted, and they're here. And we also have free will. We really have free will. So if you want to live a life of love and peace and joy and possibility and bliss and ecstasy and prosperity, the energy's here, the possibilities are here, the teachings are here, the teachers are here. Say yes and get on the journey, or not. And it's just going to keep getting harder and harder and harder if you live the path of fear or the path of the egoic mind. It's a pathway. It's just going to get even harder to get any traction on what you're about. It's not being supported on the planet anymore.
What about the planet? Do you have any fears about the damage humans have done to it? Or do you think it's just taking care of itself?
Well, I'm asking her right now because I don't have a sense. Well, I'm hearing she's okay. I'm also hearing the more love and care we give her, the more possible it is for us to feel love and care for ourselves. So that's, I say, like, we are one. I take that as that's a oneness comment. When we can love and care for her, Mother Earth is a being. She's a being just like we're beings. When we can love and care for her, that's an example of how we also care for ourselves. When we don't love and care for her, we're also not loving and caring for ourselves.
And as an empath, that's pretty easy to understand. If I can pick up feelings and have so much sensitivity, then the more I heal, I'm not getting caught in your pain. Mm-hmm. I'm moving to a higher dimension, mm-hmm. and I can hold that for you, but you and I are still connected.
Yeah, and this is the thing. The more people we have walking the planet who are willing to love and care for the planet, the higher vibration it will be for everyone. You know, my theory, would you like to hear my theory of global warming?
Sure.
My theory of global warming, it's all these people that are walking around on the planet in resistance. In my own journey, all the stinging was resistance, that I was being resistance. Does that make sense to you?
Try it again.
Okay. I have been being that nothing was acceptable. And if I am being nothing is acceptable, then the only way I get what I want is to fight.
That I understand.
Well, what I say is follow your joy. That's one of my keys for living. That's one of my keys for being where I am right now. Is your joy is information that your soul, like our souls are an energy. We are embodied with the energy. And when we're in alignment with our souls, we can experience more joy. So I say following your joy is, or being willing to spend 5 seconds a day in your joy or following your joy is a start. And that's literally where I started. I can still picture early or partway through Dr. David saying to me, even if for just 5 seconds, because following my joy was scary. My inner child and following her joy was terrifying. Like I really thought bad things happen when you follow your joy. And I was really trapped in that mindset of that little girl being terrified of being hurt if she followed her joy. So he says, if only doing it for 5 seconds. So I started that practice. Give myself permission to follow my joy for 5 seconds. Because then it's like it's a building a muscle. And that's what it is. It's like, and really finding out, like, if you follow your joy, you're not going to die. Bad things aren't going to happen. You're not going to get hurt. But it's a practice.
It is a practice. It's also a shift in energy, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's why I also said give yourself permission to follow your joy.
Yes, that's
giving yourself permission to do something.
Because sometimes you do hit resistance if you're within a family context and you say, I'm going to follow my joy, and it would feel really good not to go where the family's going to, but to spend some alone time.
Mm-hmm.
You could have pushback on that.
Yes, and like what I'm talking about is taking that down way, way down, right? We're talking about giving yourself permission for 5 seconds to follow your joy. It doesn't have to be with anybody else. It doesn't have to mean you change your mind from doing those family plans. It's like literally giving yourself permission and 5 seconds to follow your joy and see, because that's starting to create the energetic shift that it's palatable to bring a higher vibration into your space.
That's really important. Thank you. Yeah, that feels pretty clear. Good. And what else would you tell people that are waking up to these feelings that there's more to life?
Same thing, follow your joy. Really, that is one of my like keys for everything, is literally because I use that for everything at some level, is the decisions there are to make. When you're in joy, when there are higher vibration feelings, there's information there. Like if you're choosing, I have a tough decision to make. One decision is going to the grocery store after this podcast is over. The other decision is sitting down and reading a book, or just sitting down and taking some deep breaths. If I honestly don't know what decision to make, I would imagine into what does it feel like to go to the grocery store after I'm done? What does it feel like to sit and breathe for 5 minutes? Which one feels better? Which one's a higher vibration? The one that's a lower vibration is, I say, aligned with fear, or not, like follow. Another thing I was taught is ride the wave that has your name on it. Like there's an energy that is already happening. So there's an energy that's already here, already coming through the space that like turns day into night, night into day, that turns spring into summer into fall. That energy is here. We don't have to do anything about that energy. Like the energy that keeps us on the planet, we don't have to do anything about it. So we can choose to partner with the energy that's already here and already moving our life forward. And I say then paying attention to which one of these choices right now feels better. That's partnering with the energy that's already here, instead of having to create your own energy for what you're going to do.
So the other day I got an email from you and you were announcing something. You had gone through a big shift and you were announcing. Sorry I didn't have time to really go deep into it, but do you want to talk about that? Are you offering a new way of working? What was?
Well, what I'm in the process of creating is a free product for people to get to know me. And it's not birthed yet. I don't know. But what am I calling it? Is the Trust Starter Kit. Break the spell of self-doubt. And it's going to be an experience for people to walk through to help them have more trust. And depending upon when you release this podcast, it may already be out. My intention is to have it out within the next month. If there's anybody here that's actually like, oh, wow, there's something that really resonates with what you say, I offer a 45-minute complimentary breakthrough session for people that are committed to their journey, who really do want more peace, more joy, more trust in their lives. And I'd say they're committed to the process of transformation. So that's what I'd offer anyone. It could be a link here to come and meet me, show up, and we can have 45 minutes together. You can talk about what's really important to you. And I'll do what I do, show up and communicate and let the guides work through me, and you see if you feel better at the end of our time together or not. It's really feel the light. I'd say pay attention to how you feel as you listen to this podcast. What thoughts come present for you? What memories come for you? Where do you feel it in your body? Are you having new ideas about some action to take? There's a transmission that came through here today. Pay attention to that and take action on what you discovered today. Because this energy, Hillary and I, the energy we've created here, is a platform of possibility. And it really is limitless. There's nothing different about me. Like my journey, my life, my depression, there's nothing different about me. I am a walking, talking example of a person that has gone through hell and is now transmitting light in ways I never imagined, because I was willing to say yes to my soul. So that's what I say. Just pay attention. What comes up as you listen to this recording? Listen, follow, act, reach out.
You had a lot of emotion today too. It was beautiful. It was really beautiful and very real.
That is one of my superpowers, my willingness to be vulnerable and authentic. That is one of my superpowers, because I'm willing to get up in front of a room and cry and know that, if this is what's meant to happen, then this is what's meant to happen.
Well, we're about wrapping up. Anything else?
Thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me. Thank you so much for co-creating with me. Thank you for your expertise and your listening, and keep doing what you do. I appreciate what you have on Driftwood Conversations. Thank you so much.
Thank you. This was really a pleasure. During my conversation with Maurine, I was reminded that love is not something we find or earn. It's something we remember, an energy that has always been moving through us, even when we couldn't name it. When we listen to that quiet shift inside, we respond to the whisper instead of the scream. We begin to align with it. Love, as Maurine lives it, is not soft or sentimental. It's an energetic. It moves, it clears, it transforms. It pulls us out of the lives that no longer fit and leads us towards the truth of who we are. It's not about being perfect. It's about being real, being present, and being brave enough to trust that the life calling you is the one worth living. Thank you, Maurine, for showing us that the unexpected path is often the most aligned. And thank you, listeners, for being part of this conversation. This is Driftwood Conversations. I'm Hillary Sloan. See you next time.